Hang on. I'm going to just start with this.
Is it
Over and over and over again.
I have
Now.
that you're actually consuming a carb without Campbell.
Oh no.
Okay, ready?
Ready?
Are we ready? Everyone ready?
I'm already ready.
Oh, she's already
Has he
started.
started?
Yeah.
Okay, so I am going to talk with you about silk abaca, which is an inherently beautiful fabric, and a lot of the thing I like about it is that it drapes really beautifully, and the other thing that it does, which is kind of fun, is it has that luster from the silk. So what we've got is like a fine cinema type thread that goes across it and in the weft, and then the warp is silk. And there's another one called Paris cloth, which is actually cotton thread and cinema weft. And so the Paris cloth is, I don't know, I think it's a bit coarser and a little bit less expensive, but this is the real bee's knees, this stuff. And it also comes in some of the metallized stuff, so it's got a bit of lurex in it, so spingle spangle. And yeah, and when I went to see Lindsay on Friday, he said, oh, tell him about this stuff, which is like, there's a material called pinnock pock, which is basically a close weave cinema, a little bit finer. And if you look at it, it's kind of it's not stiffened, and it drapes again really nicely, but it doesn't have that direction. See how this one, it's strong on side to side and soft end to end, so it behaves differently in different directions. Now, my beautiful friend Neil Grigg, he teaches a workshop where he uses the abaca to cancel itself out by cutting it on the bias and creating all sorts of things. So in preparation for my class today, I cut this metallized stuff on the bias and then machined around the edge of it. If you can see there, you can see my machine lines. And then I've just nicked off there, cut out there, not too much, and ditto there. And then bagged it out. Bagging out is another word for sewing around the edge and then turning it inside out. So you have to remember, you can't sew from beginning to end unless you're a ning-nong, and so that you've got to have some space to flip it through. So here we go. So you're not going to watch that, it's too long and boring, but here's one I prepared earlier. I found it sound like I'm on the Tonya Todman thing. Anyway, I've made this one a bit narrower than this one. You know who I'm talking about, don't you? Yeah.
From the past.
Hey?
Yes,
Exactly.
from the past.
So, but you can see how that just has the flick of delight, okay? And so what I'm planning to do, and maybe I'll put another video up later, what I'm planning to do is create 2 double loops like that, one each of those, and then I'm going to pop that on something that's a dark colour, and then it's going to just go and be beautiful and amazing. So here's another one that I also bagged out using, Lindsay and I were having a discussion whether we call it pinnock pock or superfine cinnamate, doesn't matter. So I bagged it out. Here's my little pull through hole, which I'm not even going to bother to stitch up. And then you can use this to swoosh around whatever you're doing, to flick it up, and it's got lots and lots of interesting things that it can do, draping it around whatever you're working on. And hello, party time. Could even just have this as your hat, who knows? Maybe, maybe not, I don't know. Anyway, that's that. So that's just using the bias, and as you know, we milliners, we love the bias. However, we're not totally immune to straight grain. And one of the things about, see this little knob of joy, that was made just by taking your cinnamate, taking your, what's it called? The silk abaca, working out how wide you want the band, getting four widths of it. I'm not going to cut this up now. Slicing down here, and when you're cutting this, if you just hold your crocodile jaws open and then just slide it down, it'll actually just sail through that. And then you fold it into itself and and then you can play with it and you can do all sorts of interesting things. The other thing that if you were to have a tail sticking out on this, look at that, bloody beautiful. You can insert wire if you want it to be super controllable. And the other thing that you can do, and I'll do this, you probably should do this in a couple of stages, but you know, we're going to compress time in the video. Why is everyone having a little hello? Continue. This is an educational tool, you know. So what you got to do is, you people will never be forgotten, will you? What you do is you just get your bit of How's Your Father, and you just, little bit there, lid back on, squeeze that together. Now normally you would let that dry, so you can't see the glue there, can't see glue any side, and guess what? It just comes up really clean.
Nice.
So you can have a little bit of joy with the little triangle bit or the little mitered corner, and again plonk that on something, and sometimes it's just that little bit of How's Your Father that makes your life complete. Now the other thing I want to talk about, and I'm not sure you guys didn't do this. Oh, where did I put that little box of joy? Oh, here's the samples. This is some stuff that I did with my friend Amanda McCaw, and you can see there we actually, I'll tell you how we coloured this. We got shaving foam, spread it out on a sheet of glass, flipped a bit of dye onto the shaving foam, swirled it around with a chopstick, and then we dropped the abaca onto it.
Oh.
And so we got really interesting little patterns, as you can see. It's like marbling, and so much fun, a ridiculous amount of fun. And this is abaca going that way here, the cinnamon thread going that way, and here the cinnamon thread goes that way. Now, did you make a flower with this? Yeah. So this now, you can tool that. I've fused it together using Fix, and if you wanted to, you can actually tool this really beautifully, or you could probably even just do a bit of, you know, bit of this sort of action, and it's going to hold. You can give it a little bit of a spray with some spray gloss, or you can stiffen it using stiffener, but use the 50-50, keep it light sort of touch. But something like that, if you inserted a wire, you could do little lilies, or you could do a rose. I'm not sure that you're not going to be able to roll the edges like we do with some of the other stuff we do. Maybe we could, but I think that's enough for today, just to give you a few ideas about what you might like to do with it, and everything, like think about scale, think about inserting wire if you want to really control shapes. But by itself, I mean, this has had no treatment apart from just getting bagged out, but it holds the shape really nicely, doesn't it? Yeah?
Yeah.
Any questions, or is that enough fun for you tonight? Fabulous. I'm very happy. I like it more than I use it, shall we say.
Yeah.
Thank you.